Welcome back, guys. Chance and I bringing you the action tonight. Pro League continues after a short break for Gfinity. All the teams back home, a few players missing. One of them, TP from TCM. Tonight we saw a new player, Reviction, filling in quite well for them. And now in our current match, we're seeing two new teammates being used by Epsilon. Parasite has been brought back by a Pro League roster, and he's also going to be playing alongside Kenny, who impressed us a lot in that first Search and Destroy. Chance, overall, what do you think of this Epsilon squad? They had nothing to lose. They're coming in just one win out of their 9 matches. Is this a better squad than what you've seen from them in the past?
No, I wouldn't say necessarily. The real Epsilon squad, they have struggled greatly online. But on LAN, we've seen them do great things. Like, they took down Optic Gaming at UMG Dallas and put them in the losers bracket. Like, we know that original Epsilon squad was capable of great things. They just weren't able to make that transfer to online. So online, this team might actually be better. Again, you said Elevate right now is sitting at 4th in the league, I believe it is, and they're on like a 6-match win streak or something ridiculous like that.
6 matches in a row.
Yeah, so, Elevate's been looking ridiculously strong, and Epsilon so far has given them a run for their money. These have all been very close games that so far Elevate has been able to squeak by and come out on top.
Elevate is on match point as well. It was a 6-5 Search and Destroy that Epsilon won. Elevate was trailing all of game 1, the first hard point, though. So Epsilon, they've learned their lesson. Let's find out. Can they win game number 4 and force a second S&D? On board with Kenny, the new Val. For this Epsilon off the start, he's going to get taken down over to Parasite. And honestly, I've been pretty impressed with the way Parasite's been playing throughout this series.
Yeah, Parasite's always a player that you can pretty much expect to perform. Of course, he is going to get cut down right there by TJ Halley, and you can see the players right now for Elevate trying to fight back in and get that score back up. Of course, the first hill, as is true for so many of the first hills on all the hardpoint maps, going to be pretty heavily contested. So far we've seen 45 seconds nearly total, and players have only gotten about 16 off of it. Of course, Remy right now still milking that time. Epsilon has done really, really well off the break, actually. Of course, Remy's on a 3 streak and has been milking quite a bit of that hill time. Of course, TJ Halley's going to fly and get 2, but Remy's going to be there to counter and get a 2 of his own.
I like the aggressive subs here in Parasite and Remy. The work they've done so far on Compound, big factor in their lead, but they're going to have to do it for a full 10 minutes. After your first, it's just an 8-point lead. Let's go over to Classic. Inside the hard point currently for Elevate. He's going to fall, and just like that, Nagafen's going to retake control.
Yep, Nagafen also with that ASM1, very small map. You expect that a lot. Also getting wall bang, so to speak, through that little, wooden, I don't even know what to call that, shield, essentially. Nagafen, though, going to be able to pick up those kills. You can see Slack trying to get himself in. Kenny's going to be there for the trade. Epsilon, again, able to extend their lead, and now to about 25 points.
Parasite getting some nice cutoff kills here. Saw the flank, listened to the call out, able to pick up 1. His teammates continue to push out the spawns straight ahead. If you're Elevate, they're just going to keep rushing through this small gap, and so far a fantastic hold. Epsilon is just crushing Elevate, spawn after spawn. Finally, it looks like Elevate just going to reverse direction. They're out of time, but they will be first to set up hill here on hardpoint number 3. What I really like about this map is how far hardpoint 2 and 3 are from each other in the opposite corners of the map. So even if you get punished on hardpoint 2, you can bring it right back here on number 3.
Yeah, sort of reminds you of those other, classical Black Ops 2 maps where the rotation is without a doubt key. And you can see they were able to milk, basically solid 20 seconds right there, virtually uncontested time. Of course, as that's going on, Epsilon was able to break pretty much straight through. Gonna try and retain control. Slack trying to work himself in. He's able to pick up 1. Remy there gonna be there to shut him down. He picked up 2, but he's gonna get cut down as well. Very back and forth right now, although it looks like Epsilon actually able to come out on top.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that TJ made the key play there for Elevate. He finally stopped the spawns in the back here for Epsilon, but now as you look at the minimap, those spawns come right back into play. The money hill is coming up next, and as you look at the minimap, you have to say the advantage so far is definitely in favor of Epsilon. They should be able to pull away with this hill.
Yeah, and they already have more than double the score of Elevate right now. Looking good, of course. Those kills actually going in favor of Elevate just for a moment, though. Parasite and Kenny going to be there, shut him down. Saints trying to work in the flank. However, Remy gets that cleanup kill as well. You know, until TJ Halley actually got that three-piece right there.
TJ.
The kills were doing a very good job of getting traded, but then TJ Halley just completely craps all over that idea.
Look at the kill feed. It has been blue for the last 8 kills. Make it 9 there from TJ. Nice run, and it all started with that three-piece from Tej. This is actually going to be Elevate's chance to catch up. You got 20 points remaining here. Will they be able to rotate to the next hard point as well? That's going to be the next question. TJ jumping back in, picks up 2 more on a 3 streak once again. He's going to fall. Slacked is going to get dropped. This game going back and forth with the subs taking over.
Of course, that rotation to the next hill already coming in. This time, Elevate is going to be the team that's on the ball. We saw that on hill number 3, and they did an okay job, but not quite good enough to hold off Epsilon for too long. Epsilon was able to force in those spawns, so Elevate going to be trying to fix those small mistakes here. You see Slack's going to be able to pick up 1, but 2 of his teammates are going to fall. Getting contested right now. However, Slack and Classic in that duo combination, able to clean up both of those, and a team kill actually is going to come in, so I probably shouldn't have called him the duo.
A little bit of angry fire. He was weak anyway. Parasite trying to break through now. Gets 1. Gonna find a second underneath the awning. He's gonna fall to that. Nagafen, though, able to get in for Epsilon. 30 points left basically on this hill. You see the difference in score. Sitting about 25. Looking through. Star player of this match so far has been Parasite when it comes to the KD. He's +6. On the other side, no one from Elevate really getting it going. TJ's your best performer at 20 and 17.
You know, and honestly, this is kind of similar to what we saw the first hard point where Epsilon was in control for a long time. Not a huge lead, but, you know, sizable margin pretty much through the entirety. But on the second set of rotations, was Elevate really cranked it up, and it was on the last 3 hills that they really turned it around. So to me, it's a matter of just how long Epsilon can continually perform. You said at the beginning, they got to play for all 10 minutes. Elevate, we already know, can make those comebacks. Potentially going to see the exact same thing here. Already able to get that deficit down to just 17 points.
Classic back in the hard point, ball in hand. Player jumping out, gonna get cut down. Over to Slack now, as it's just chaos on this middle hill as always. This is the smallest lead that Epsilon has had. It's now cut down to just 7, make it 6 points, and those are gonna quickly disintegrate. We're gonna see a lead change right here, second half, just like the first time around. Elevate showing some life now.
Yeah, looking good. You know, they're also about +8 in terms of total KD, but also, you know, Slack really heating up. Again, similar to what we saw in the first hard point where Slack, bit of a slow start, but when he turned up on that second side, it was a complete game changer. Classic also going to be on a 3 streak. Elevate has control of this next hill early on, and if you recall, we saw the first time around, it was actually Epsilon in control, and they were just able to funnel through those kills and just completely slay out their opponent. Now Elevate trying to return the favor.
And you can see Epsilon taking a different route than what we saw from Elevate. But the score, basically a total 180 from the first time. And just like that, I think that rotation paid off. Epsilon's able to flood through. They get all 4. Elevate just didn't see that one coming. They were all ready for players to push from the right, but they came from all directions. And Parasite's 3-piece is going to secure another 10 seconds, it looks like. Spawns are coming in the back of the map. This is going to lead to Epsilon being able to transfer first to the new hard point as well. Everything going well if you're an Epsilon fan.
Yeah, this is definitely Epsilon. So without a doubt, both times around, of course, they're going to get the scrap time. So when they were down by a decent margin, they're going to finish off and have about a 12-point lead going to the next. So, of course, Elevate does have control, which is what we saw the first time around. But we also saw Epsilon was able to break through very quickly. Looks like they're going to be able to do just that. All the kills going in the favor. Now Elevate is going to have to be the one that fights for that scrap.
Nagafen did a great job there. He was the only player in position to really tag up Elevate members. Then he goes up and over on the flank while his teammates distract, picks up 1. Then you see the kill feed change, and just like that, Epsilon total dominance over hardpoint 2 and hardpoint 3. Their rotations have been the most impressive thing to me. Anyone can slay, but Epsilon's given themselves a much better opportunity to pick up the kills without taking damage.
Yeah, without a doubt. And even right there, Parasite is just able to perfectly flank. There was 3 Elevate players getting the hill. He just jumps over, cleans up 2, then Slack is distracted. And despite the fact that Slack got 2, the remaining players for Epsilon were just able to get there. Now, you did call this the money hill, so this is definitely going to be Elevate's best chance to get back in it. But you see Epsilon right now already in that early control.
Yeah, and Remy had pushed out way on the front, so they would scout out any moves coming through, delaying the players on their first two pushes. Kenny will fall, though, inside the hill. So here comes Elevate. A double nade, though, from Slack is going to cause problems. That's going to take out both of his teammates. Slack now last member inside the hard point. Nagafen can't finish him, though. So a big hold momentarily. Everyone forcing their way through to the money hill, and it's going to be won by Epsilon. But the question is for how long? As I finish that sentence, it has already changed.
Yeah, about a 50-point differential between these two teams. About 80 seconds left in this match. Elevate gonna need a milk every single second. I have a feeling that that double team kill is gonna come back and bite them. Of course, it is gonna be Epsilon in control right now. We're getting to the point where it's nearly mathematically impossible if it isn't already. Elevate has to break through immediately. They're able to do just that. TJ Halley is able to pick up two. They're gonna get this scrap time, but still on this last hill, they're gonna need pretty much every single second. And you can see Epsilon is already set up for the kills.
I'm trying to do the math. Yeah, like you said, every single second but two. And with those kills, I think they've done it. 40 points. That's definitely more than the margin you see on your scoreboard. And that's all the time that remains. Epsilon going to win the second hard point. This should have been already their series. If Elevate didn't come back in game number one, this is already done, and Epsilon gets their second win of the season. Instead, though, this ties it up at 2 apiece, and we're going to a game 5. It's anyone's ball game, as we'll see Search and Destroy on Detroit next.
And it's definitely going to be an exciting Search and Destroy map as well. You know, the first one that we saw went all the way to round 11, very back and forth game. And this also calls all the way back when you're talking about, is Parasite a decent replacement for Swanee? You can see here in this game, he led the entire lobby in terms of slaying, and he's known for his Search and Destroy game as well. So potentially, this could be the game where Parasite proves himself worthy of being on this Epsilon squad. Of course, that still remains to be seen. But either way, finished off 41 and 29.
Great rotations throughout. Strong slaying presence from Remy and Parasite Remy. Those interactions, man. 35 kills, 30 deaths, 15 captures, and 4 defends. Very impressive work from the aggressive SMGs. They win it for Epsilon on compound hardpoint. But the question is, can they finish it? Detroit's coming up next, guys. Tell your friends. We'll be back right here on MLG.tv.